Hello everybody and welcome back to the NLC. It's time for our second game of the day, and this one is going to be Riddle taking on BTXL. BTXL taking a pretty, well, I mean, it was a great win versus Fnatic. It didn't need to be as close as it was because of that backdoor. It felt like XL probably should have won it, but goddamn, that was an absolutely brilliant game.
Yeah. Sorry, Jamana, go on.
No, I think, yeah, I agree. It was a brilliant game. Did it have to be that close? No, I think it's more credit to the snap decision-making of Fnatic Rising in that case, in all honesty. But yeah, here today, it's going to be an interesting matchup for me because I'm looking more towards Riddle and saying, all right, how much can you do into, you know, a BTXL, which is currently kind of unleashed because Markun and Advian, they're moving up to the LEC. And we've kind of had their insights. They're saying there's no pressure on them anymore. So they're feeling pretty comfortable. And in general, they were on an upswing anyway. And of course, Riddle themselves, they've been on that same upswing. So I want to see exactly how they can approach BTXL and try to challenge them and in what areas.
Honestly, I have my questions when it comes to Riddle because yesterday we saw them, win, but it took them a while. It was like a 12 CS per minute CV that just couldn't necessarily get into the fights because the composition was a little bit dodgy to play. So I feel like draft is going to have to play a huge part right here. And so far, the BTXL drafts have been looking stellar. They've been complementing the players so well. And even though we saw a BTXL that was like 50-50 on the draft, like we don't know what to pick, we don't know what to prioritize, we don't know what composition we want to play, you see that they're on a 6-game win streak, which means they've got the stuff together. Now they know exactly how they're looking to play the game.
Yeah, and I don't think Riddle can rely on a Sivir this time. I don't think you can wait to scale because XL play fast, they play loose, and, you know, even versus Fnatic when they were being challenged, they still don't relent. They just keep on going. Now, they picked themselves up the Nocturne as their first pick, and we are going to see the Viego getting picked up for Riddle. It's technically flexible, so it can get moved around a little bit here. We'll see what they look to answer out with as their next pick as they look for NC and grab him the Diana in the jungle.
Definitely a very nice takeaway. We saw Markun play, and now it looks like Markun will just immediately default to the Rumble unless he really wants to try something else.
Zinza's Alpha, no.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way.
But I think when you've got the Nocturne, you might feel more inclined to lock it because you can assist from the long-range dive. So I don't necessarily mind it, in all honesty. And if they want to go for the Lee Sin in the same vein, if they want to chuck that up to Arome and then have mid lane mid lane Nocturne, so they've got permanent prio, so they can sort of play that 2v2 between the Rumble and Nocturne. They certainly can. I think this Ezreal lock would probably be the smartest thing in the world now when you look towards some of those BTXL champions that are looking to dive.
Okay, and now we're obviously looking to pinch Deadly, maybe something like the Varus, the Kalista that he's been playing a lot, something that's very dangerous in the early game. I can punish Ezreal. Ezreal is typically okay into the Varus, so I wouldn't be surprised if they actually leave this open, but maybe then you're looking to punish Advin here as well, something like the Leona that is very good together with the Rumble, the Lee Sin, and the Nocturne, or maybe the Nautilus. Like, get anything that's very aggressive off of the hands of Deadly and Advin.
You can see that they actually are thinking about something like a Leona or a Nautilus because the Braum ban away. Braum typically handles himself very well into those lanes, and it's actually just going to be the Kai'Sa ban away. So Riddle's like to kind of target out a little bit more towards the AD carry pool. I mean, you've still got plenty of AD carries left open. You could kind of default and kind of move down to something like a Tristana if you want.
The Draven?
Draven, which obviously Deadly pulled out yesterday. The Senna. There's so many AD carries open. I'm not going to make a prediction on that one. We'll just see what BTXL make as their final ban here, where they're going to look to target away. As they're running the clock down, it is going to be the Nautilus here. And Riddle could honestly just take the Leona as a bit of a denial pick if they want.
So, okay, they're forcing the Leona because they potentially want to grab the Thresh. Because we haven't mentioned that through the entirety of 10 bans, we have not seen Thresh being banned yet. And this is typically something that Deadly really likes to play with when he pulls out something more scaling, like the Jinx, like the Aphelios, which I wouldn't necessarily say no to, sort of handshake with the Ezreal and then meet them later on in game. And especially because the Riddle right now have a lot of dive, I think Thresh would be so useful to an ADC.
I think we're probably going to see it. If I'm going to be honest with you here, they pick up the Wukong for Riddle. Now, that is a scary team comp. You got the Cyclone, you got the Moonfall, you got a lot of diving coming in and kind of the ability to kind of snap start fights for yourself. So picking up something that can kind of peel away an AD carry in that Thresh would be nice. And now we'll see what XL decides to try and rotate and pick as their final champion. It is going to be the Aphelios for Deadly in the bot lane. Now over to Riddle, need to find an answer in the support pool, something that can maybe deal with this bot lane alongside the Ezreal.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the Rakan. I think you're going to end up leaving Gooby on a bit of an island anyway. This looks, to me at least, for Riddle, more like a solo lane-orientated draft anyway. So giving them that extra sort of engage option, to me, would seem like the best choice. If they want to swap it to Leo in the last second, they can. But I think Rakan just gives the most fluidity to their composition. And it's just the most sort of versatile engages and disengages that you can get. And in general, Thresh can't pressure you that hard in the lane. And as long as you're returning to stacked waves, Ezreal should never really get dived either. So I like that last lock-in from Riddle. I think, you know, both these team comps along the same lines, really. They kind of want to do relatively similar things. So I think it's going to be more about who gets to set up first and who's the one pulling the trigger first. In a lot of these scenarios, it's going to be the one that comes out ahead in my eyes.
The only thing that's concerning is that Riddle have gone for the typical LEC XL compositions where it's like we press R, we go in, we go hard, we reach the backline, fair enough. But usually these compositions don't have a lot of agency in lane. Wukong does against the Lee Sin. Viego does against the Nocturne. Diana beats Rumble in a 1v1, and then the Ezreal and the Rakan, they can just very easily chill back and wait. This is where I'm a little bit worried from BTXL. I think the plays are going to have to come from Hatrix and Marcoon, which has been the case lately, because there's so much agency and so much early game coming in from Riddle that I don't think BTXL have a very easy way into this game.
I feel my concern is maybe XL's comp might be a little bit harder to execute, and that was exactly what Fnatic fell victim to versus Dusty when they suffered their first loss of this tournament. Was, you know, they picked a comp that was a little harder to execute and were punished for it. Like you said, Riddle, they just have to press R. Like, that is their comp, and honestly, team fights aren't that easy for them. Anyway, it's time for us to pass it over to a veteran caster in Orcs who's joined by the second best Hapgood brother. So over to you guys.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate that. Nightmare is not even on broadcast, and somehow he still gets one over me there. He will not be shutting up about that one, I can tell you already. But yes, I'm still initialized the better Hapgood brother. Thank you very much. Alongside Orcs, clearly Hip Brain needs to work on his toast.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't think Simon's here, but...
Just throw him under the bus. No help from Orcs.
I've got to give you some support, you know. I've got to give you some support. Also, any Hip Brain hate, I'm on board with that. I feel like, obviously, a big portion of my job is casting, you know, understanding the game, but a massive portion is just annoying Jake.
That's fair. I'm beginning to see why after that. You know, I was going to be nice to him, but you know, after that one, nah, it's done. It's done.
Yep.
All right. On to the Rift. I was really enjoying at the end there the various switching of the Nocturne and the Lee Sin and the Viego and the Wukong, trying to make sure they got the matchups they wanted between both of these squads, and to see whether it actually works out the way they want it to here.
I think for me, BTXL. Honestly, I think the lane matchup's pretty good. Bot lane, you can have priority. Aphelios, pretty strong early laner, honestly, with obviously the Caitlyn range essentially on one of your guns and the sustain. And Ezreal, very much a weak early laner. Mid lane, Nocturne, the real strength of him is that you can just kind of find priority in almost any lane and should be able to be against the Viego. In the top lane, Lee Sin, a pretty good matchup in the Wukong. Obviously, being able to reveal him when he's trying to go invisible, but the big thing for me is I'm talking about how I feel like BTXL is a bit favored in the laning phase and the early prio, but also Rumble compared to Diana. Diana's really strong in the mid game. At 6, she's so powerful, but in the earlier levels, not as much agency as the Rumble. We often even see Rumble sometimes invading at level 3 and just solo killing the other jungler. So I feel like for me, BTXL should be getting off to a stronger start in this game.
Okay, so stronger start, of course. The analyst desk was saying, well, maybe BTXL got maybe a slightly harder comp to execute, especially versus all the dives. At the end, lands a lovely level 1 death sentence, but not much more going to be found of that. And I'm curious to see what your thoughts on that one in terms of like ease of execution of both of these comps.
I do think Riddle have like a lot of those strong team fighting ultimates, and obviously if they kill, you know, they take out Deadly, things get significantly easier. And as was kind of highlighted on, it's kind of the R button go, but I feel like BTXL's composition for me personally, I think what I'm really looking at is the bot lane. And I think Aphelios Thresh is actually kind of hard for Riddle to deal with easily, because there's a lot of scenarios where, you know, Aphelios, when people are like up and close to him and they're melee champions, he can just do so much damage. And having that combo with the Thresh peel as well, I could see a lot of scenarios where Riddle try to dive the backline of BTXL, and they just get shredded. They just get absolutely decimated. So I feel like it's a balance. I definitely think that Riddle have maybe some easier tools, but BTXL are not a team who are afraid from using these sort of more difficult tools to find success. And I think they've set them up in a pretty good spot here.
MC was just maybe thinking about going for a little dive there, but has been spotted out by Marcoon, who's now roaming up. Roaming a little low as the harrowed path comes through for Slowq, but that's about it for now. Just contesting over pressure and priority on these Scuttle Crabs.
Yeah, we actually saw a human swap come out. So Slowq playing in the top lane and Kex in the mid lane. So despite all the swapping we saw, Riddle coming out with the lanes they actually wanted in this situation. But irrespective of that, you're still getting the priority coming down from hat-tricks. It still allows Marcoon to play aggressive like this and steal away the red buff. The only real difference is that Slowq is kind of having a pretty solid time in the top lane up against Arome.
Well, that was the matchup they wanted. It might not be the players they wanted on those champions, but another hook. I think that's 3 in a row that's been on screen. Good stuff there from Advien. Rooted in place now with the Dinger Clips. Going to try and play out best they can as Arome. Going to have to flash away, but a flash for the Blade of the Ruined King. And the Sovereign of the Ruined Isles gets himself a First Blood solo topside.
Pretty crazy. You're not even a top laner, and Slowq solo killing Arome of all people. Getting the favorable matchup he wanted, but also delivering on it. And this is a little bit of a thorn in the side. We've seen how strong a Viego can be in the 1v9 potential. And really, Riddle can lean on that in the later stages of the game. But for now, this is BTXL set up a trap for MC. And goodbye.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I would play-by-play this, but there's just so little to write home about. That was a very dead Diana.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the problem. You're lacking that priority in lanes. It gives the freedom for Advien to do this. And Rumble is also a champion who just has so much base damage in the early levels, can just torch you. And now that pressure is being led onto... Oh.
Another hook. 4 in a row. There's the Atlantic. Going to be trying to get out as fast as they can. PlayStation going to be rooted in place, so double binding Eclipse from the Athelis, but MC has respawned. No one else quite through as yet. They've got a blast cone to go towards, and they're going to teleport it on here. BT may have gone too deep, but now Marcoon is going to get one already. The teleport's too late. Kex is here, but he's not level 6. MC also so low. Double kill for Aphelios. It's going to be traded back at least 1, but PlayStation's now under tower, and look who's here, attack tricks. So it's just BTXL getting an absolute monster of a fight towards this bot lane.
Behind the tower, and they're still winning out. And I think you're seeing the weakness of this Ezreal Rakan compared to the fresh Aphelios, and also the fact they were low on HP, they were low on mana. You know, XL had this early game advantage, and I really wanted to see them put the pressure on, put the emphasis on that, and they're absolutely doing so thus far, cementing a pretty solid lead. And we can see essentially PlayStation Gooby are so low and pretty low on mana in terms of Rakan. They just aren't really offering anything in this fight. Whereas Advien consistently landing the CC, you have all the damage from Marcoon, and Deadly just consistently firing off autos. I feel like, you know, maybe if there'd been a dive and Riddle had committed to try and find the fight, it could have gone in their favor, but the tower was actually a non-factor there, obviously, not in range of it, and so BTXL able to deliver, and you're looking at now 2-0-1 from Deadly. He's so strong right now.
Like, I'm just in mild awe of Advien's ability just to hit every thresh hook that's on screen. And you're wondering why some of these BT players are getting a call up towards the LEC.
I was about to say, this guy's pretty good. Maybe he deserves a spot in the LEC. You know? This guy's playing pretty well.
That's a fun thought, Orcs, you know? I kind of like that one. Well, maybe you never know. A lot of XL fans coming maybe to check out this guy and see what he'll be doing for the main roster. Looking good. Pretty good right now, 0-0-3. Got himself set up alongside his AD carry to be doing very well in this game as Kex has finally got himself towards Cyclone. In fact, all of these solo laners now hitting towards the level 6 marks. Only MC really on the top side of the map yet to have their ultimate available. And BT maybe looking to set up around this dragon as just Kex and Hatrix trading a little in the mid lane. Oh, okay. Never mind that. I was about to let you try and talk there, Borks, but instead Kex is going to start up the fight and may have gone just a little too deep. Not even going to burn the equalizer yet. Going to try and maybe wait out for an electro harpoon. Instead, there comes the equalizer, forced the flash from Kex, and he gets out alive, but it's going to cost him a lot of health bars and a lot of summoners. Yeah, just really awkward timing, because Kex was like, I win this 1v1, I want to go in for it, and then instantly Marcoon turns up. And the overheat from Marcoon actually meant he wasn't able to follow up and take him out. And obviously, PlayStation buying some space, and then the flash save with the equalizer. But even so, you know, Riddle find a pressure point, instantly answered by BTXL, and this kind of control that's bleeding out from the bot lane really punishing right now. And I mean, look at Gooby and PlayStation. MC was right there, and he just wants nothing to do with this bot lane of BTXL. And you're walking into a Severum Crescendum combo from Deadly as well, alongside the Lantern. Like, you walk into that, he hits Q, and the Onslaught kicks in, and you're in a lot of trouble. You absolutely don't want anything to do with that.
That's just so scary. And that's the thing, you know, short range carries, short range champions into Aphelios, as long as you can keep them safe and sort of be between that line between being in range and not being in a dangerous spot, Deadly should just absolutely shred. But I mean, speaking of shredding...
yeah, well, flame roasted moonlight for dinner, it turns out. Marcoon gets that one. Two very nasty invades towards MC around the buffs has caused a lot of danger. 3 deaths now for this Diana. She's supposed to spike at 1-2 items. It's going to be a while before she gets there, Orcs.
Yeah, I mean, this is really where she starts to come online, hitting that level 6 point, a lot of skirmishing power, but the Rumble's just so far ahead. And Marcoon's playing it so well, finding these windows where he's setting up in the jungle, and he gets that advantage and is able to win the 1v1 with no chance of recourse from MC. It's been some really solid play, particularly from this support jungle of XL, who coincidentally, this is their last game for the Academy team before they head off to the LEC, but they're kind of showing why. Some really solid performances, and I think the lane is really playing around that to help facilitate it.
And it'll be a little bit sad, of course, for I'm sure the rest of the BTXL squad have been doing so well this split. You know, it's a shame to lose 2 of your amazing members, but for those members, for the organization as a whole, holistically, it's amazing. You know, that's partly what you have the systems like this in place, the ERLs and the like, to develop players like Advient and Marcoon, to get those players to come up towards the big leagues. It's been proven across a lot of Europe over the last few years, and I'm really excited to see what those guys can do on the biggest stage in Europe.
Yeah, and obviously XL in a position where the LEC team definitely could do with some sort of help at the moment. So if things do start to trend positively, obviously really good for these players debuting and getting that chance. Oh, do you see? I mean,
binding Eclipse into the Thresher, just so nasty. I spent a long time, by the way, like trying to learn all of the active abilities for Aphelios weapons. So I do my very best to hold on to it as the Moonlight Vigil does go wide.
Yeah, tried, failed, missed, you know. Unfortunately, Deadly isn't gifted with the inability to miss skill shots that Advien is, but he does try. I think the thing we should kind of hone on now is how did Riddle get back in this game? Because, as I'm saying that,
well, maybe this is a start. They're going to go in with the combo. There's got a lot of damage forced out on the PlayStation, though, and Marcoon takes back hold of Deadly. So low, though! And that's a great start. The Heartbreaker to maybe break the XL of Hans Hart. MC now stepping forward. The Moonfall is there. Rumble flashing as fast as they can. Hat-trick's coming down, but look who else is here. It's Kex. Nimbus Strike secures that kill, and that, the moment you speak about it, Orcs, the moment you ask, how did Riddle get back in? What do you know?
And so to finish my point, that is what I need to do.
There you go. Excellent.
Yeah, essentially finding a numbers advantage, capitalizing on some of the over-aggression. They delivered that really well. The TP coming in from slow Q at the perfect time, and because Deadly Advien stepped a little bit too far, they were able to use these big tools. So critically here is the power of these ultimates. PlayStation gets the knock-up, and that sets up the ultimate from Ezreal to do so much. And then we see essentially slow Q coming in when the health is already low. MC follows up, they're able to get the resets, and then that ult from Diana able to bring Marcoon in for the cleanup. And again, this wasn't a massive numbers advantage. I know Kex is coming at the end, but Hatrix was also there. This was more just Riddle finding a proactive window, and BTXL stepping up too far. You have a Thresh with a Lantern. It doesn't really work when the Aphelios is in melee range of him, though.
Yeah, just a little bit over-aggressive, a little too over-eager from the bot lane of BTXL, just after we praising them so much, and it now... We've got a Viego with 2 kills and a Wukong with 2 kills. 2 pretty good ways to potentially deal with an Aphelios, especially if the Lantern's ever down. Herald was taken at Marcoon some point earlier and is now summoned towards the bot lane to secure Deadly this first turret. So recovery after that last play went a little awry. Still, BTXL up about 2,000 gold here, so feeling pretty good. Orome, though, feeling significantly less good in this top side. Does kick Slowkey back under the tower, though. 3 members strong. Riddle could still maybe look for this with the wave shoving in. Still 20 seconds on. It's leaving Gooby in an awful position on the other side, Orcs.
Yeah, I mean, he just has to back away. Should be fine. He's got Flash. He's got Arcane Shift. But Orome's bought so much time here. They are looking for the dive again.
That will be the quickness popped, but there's Paranoia as well. Going to try and come back in. And that is a very swift Nocturne 3v3 though. Moonfall comes out. Flash is being blown left, right, and center. Hattrick still in there. Slowq now solo. The box keeps him close enough for Hattricks to get that one. And PlayStation trying to grand exit away. He's got no mana now, so Battle Lance less available. They're going to try and turn it around. The Luna rush starts continuing. Arome trying to safeguard away. The Cyclone brings that one down. Inclement weather patterns proving BT's demise. Eclipses and cyclones everywhere. The side of the end times, maybe not just for this roster of XL who are breaking up after this game, but maybe how their game is going in general. Hattricks in no man's land. Gonna face check the Diana. Yeah, how does it feel this time round? It might not be Markoon, but MC feeling a little bit of Schadenfreude after that.
Yeah, and I mean, BTXL find a window, and it's actually a good one. You know, Rome buys a ton of time. The rest of the team are able to roam up and cover him, but they then overcommit. And once more, Riddle delivering with that TP. Kex turns up, and this Wukong with the Divine Sundra really strong on that one-item spike. So this is the redive. Obviously, Rome delayed them quite a bit, and he plays this well. But I think XL could have stopped here, and they could have taken their advantage and gone, okay, we're fine. You know, but instead they opt to over push, go a little bit further. Even at this point, having taken down Slowq, they could have backed away, but they disrespect the TP from the Wukong and push just way too far forwards when there's no guarantee they'll have a numbers advantage. And the Wukong's coming in here on that one-item spike of the Divine Thundra with low health bars, and he's just so strong, able to clean up so easily. And BTXL just over-aggression, not respecting the enemy team, and it's the same way they got punished in the bot lane.
Still about a 2,000 gold lead. Of course, they do have a lot of turrets to their name. Nearly got this third one down to about, must be about 50 HP looking at that turret HP bar. So it's not like this game's over. It's just there have been a few moments now we've gone, that's a bit far, XL.
Yeah, but right now we are seeing a pretty big spike from Riddle because they're on the Divine Sundra spike.
Ah, yes.
Where 3 champions have picked up this broken item, which obviously gives a ton of health. So they're feeling pretty tanky, but also a ton of damage as well. And that's the thing. Deadly is mega fed, but Aphelios spikes on 3 items, you know? So all the gold you poured into him, as much as he obviously does have value now, it's not really paying off right now. And I feel like BTXL need to respect that, need to understand that, and potentially need to lean more into that 3rd item spike rather than just trying to repeatedly be over-aggressive here. Because right now, the Wukong, mega strong. Slowq as well, in a pretty comfortable spot. And despite the early setbacks on Gooby, when he hits that 2nd item, he is going to be powerful.
Yeah, and you know, Diana now got involved in a few kills. She's got that rocket belt. We mentioned the Wukong, who is going to be doing a lot of damage already at this point. You know, got towards the Tiamat as well as the Thunderer. Like, that's a lot of damage, especially considering we got a Drake about to spawn. And Riddle certainly have themselves a fairly powerful team fight comp. So Markoon and Deadly are taking the 2nd Herald, and Sento might just say, don't want to fight around this dragon, don't want to fight on these item spikes. Let's back it off for the moment.
Yeah, and realistically, with having picked up that 1st dragon, you're not at too much of a risk of a soul anytime soon. It is going to be an ocean soul. A lot of sort of more bruiser members, so that has a decent amount of value, but obviously Infernal tends to be the much more threatening one. We do see the Herald go down mid, secure that mid tower, so XL 4 towers to 0 right now, which allows them to have a lot of map control.
He's in a spot of bother, is that Rakan, but he's got a battle dance knock 2 to get out of there. So despite some little look in for XL, or BTXL rather, they don't manage to find that much. They do find their 4th turret of the game, of course, though. And interestingly, Riddle have yet to get any orcs.
Yeah, I mean, they just haven't really been in a position to, with the lack of priority kind of across the map. And obviously, Roma did a great job of buying time on the top side before they were a bit over-aggressive. So it does help enable them to have that 2,000, so just under 3,000 gold lead. But they still have to respect Riddle despite that. There's still a lot of powerful spikes, a lot of champions who got a lot more agency at this point. And do you see Kex gonna pick up that 1st tower? Nocturne's gonna look to come in.
So is MC. So this is going to be a 2v2. Cyclone Part 2 comes out. Rome going to try and find something. The Moonfall comes in. That'll be a deadly sin. Blinded by paranoia might be Riddle, but Lee Sin is even more. So he is going to be put into the dirt. It's going to be a shutdown, though, that goes the way of Deadly as he picks up the Wukong. Big shutdown for him, and now PlayStation and MC need to retreat up the very long and very exposed bot lane. But I don't think BTXL have much more in the way of being able to follow right now, unless someone decides to face check here. I'm going to invade onto the blue buff instead, and I think this is the end of it, unless Gooby really wants to fight us. No! Advian, you can't be doing that. The teleport in response is just never-ending, Orcs. Gooby now on the side, going to look for something more. Advian going to throw down the box as well, trying to get out of here. But Gooby shifts in and gets that kill, and once again, they just overchase.
Yeah, and you can see BTXL are trying to get Deadly into these fights, but they're unable to quickly, and Riddle just have so much strength in the individual members. You can see it here. It takes so long to kill Kex, and he does so much damage in the meantime. They do eventually take him down with a shutdown, but, you know, they lose 2 members, and this is XL bringing 5 to answer 3, and they still end up losing in the trade. And then it was just a bit of an overchase here, going a bit too aggressive, and again, not respecting the TPs. It kind of feels like the paranoia is on the other side, because BTXL are just not paying attention to the threat of these TPs coming in globally, and time again being punished for it, and given these windows over the side of Riddle. Right now, Kex, 2 items now on the Wukong with the Titanic Hybrid. He is very scary.
Yeah, that is definitely looking like a journey to the west, namely towards that blue side Nexus. Doing very well right now on the Wukong. 5-1-1. Yet to complete the boots, but that's really needed to at this point, honestly. Marcoon is doing a patented bush camp in the enemy jungle. And Hatrix is here as well, and the Paranoia comes through. The Equalizer sure to follow shortly after. Maybe they can start outplaying this. That's a very tanky Wukong. He's trying to outplay best he can. Gets the double Cyclone now. Equalizer comes through. Advien is there with the side of... Whoa, actually taken around. Marcoon gonna get killed by PlayStation. Moonfall afterwards. No! Riddle turn it around. This Wukong is just monstrous.
Hatrix just kind of misplayed that to an insane degree. Like, credit to Kex, don't get me wrong, but multiple mistakes, and we're going to see it. So in the replay, so first off, Hatrix puts the Fear Tether down. We don't actually get to see that, but he Stride Breakered out of range of it, which was a massive misplay. And then here, Stopwatch comes out from Marcoon. Lantern there for the Rumble, you would think. But Hatrix is the one who steps away. And so Rumble ends up dying. Hatrix doesn't finish off the Nocturne before reinforcements come. And then they end up all 3 members going down. Really messy. The Fear not connecting. And he is actually going in here for Kex now. He should die here.
There's Arome trying to turn it around. Sonic Wave into the Resonating Strike secures that one for Arome. So finally, a little bit of good news for XL after things have been going a little bit wrong. That's a flash into another Sonic Wave. Arome really feeling it right now, but MC manages to get to the other side of the Lee Sin before the kick manages to tether in. They're going to turn towards the Baron, but PlayStation's in behind. True Shot Barrage comes across. Ruby is here.
There's no way. You're too low.
This is so low. Arome's in trouble. Flay away from the quickness. That's the box me out. Marcoon's in so much trouble, manages to get out. Hatrix into the back of the pit, though, into the Moonlight Vigil, and Deadly gets that one onto PlayStation. Now maybe they could think about Baron again, but the health bar's just so low, and instead they'll take the bait, they'll take the kill, and they'll back away.
Yeah, I mean, especially with slow Q showing up with the potential to get those resets, you cannot overcommit to that. The True Shot Barrage from Ezreal instantly making that precarious position, but they do manage to get a kill and get out. But we saw this monstrous early game from BTXL. Really strong performance, playing around the prior lanes, Marcoon getting ahead. But so many times where Riddle capitalized on over-aggression on those TPs, and we're now even in gold pretty much. So Riddle spiking hard right now, and XL really going to be relying on Deadly to be their big carry in the later stages.
Yeah, I feel like Hatrix could have less of a hat-trick in his stat line than if he tried 3-3-3 right now. Drake number 2 goes the way of Riddle at the same time. Even with the support dead, just the reset timings and the health bars from BTXL means they get that one. Is an Ocean Rift as well, but we're still fair ways away before an Ocean Soul is a real threat for either team.
And honestly, I feel like they could have done this for a while, but BTXL can actually seem to, pump the brakes a bit, a little bit. Slow the game down. Let Deadly get 3+ items, because 3 is where you're really putting out the damage, but you'd probably want an extra defensive item, something like a GA, even just Stopwatch for a fight. And that's when you can feel a lot more comfortable. If Riddle try to dive him and Advien can keep him safe, he'll be able to do a ton of damage. But for now, we're seeing a scenario where Riddle are finding these numbers advantages or just relying on the strength of the solo laners. Slow Q, Kex, and I mean, even MC with a 17-stack Regis, so hard to deal with at this point of the game, and doing so much damage as well.
I mean, how much of a turnaround is this for Diana? Now up in CS over Marcoon, the Megis you just called out, looking to get some autographs in that Death Note before Deadly and Marcoon leave for the LEC. This will be worth a bit of money in a week or two. And definitely this Diana, like, back in the game now. Zonya's just completed as well. Like, you said that this Diana in the mid-game spikes super hard. Well, the items are there now. The CS is there now. So much for shutting them down.
Yeah, I mean, this is what you play for on the Diana, and considering that was like the kind of worst early game imaginable, MC's been able to get to this point where he is really strong, really threatening. We do have the Infinity Edge for Deadly. Ton of damage at this point, definitely the carry potential, but he can still die quickly.
All right, into the deadly, into the flourish, trying to stay the deadly flourish. The death sentence, I apologize. No Jin this game. Hatrix gets that kill on PlayStation, and it was pretty damn clean. Support dead again, and this time they can maybe turn to the Baron with the health bars alive and the man advantage. Advien is playing Gatekeeper, trying to hold people out. Can Riddle find a way to get into this pit? MC is there, but BTXL just feel like they can't do it. Don't have the damage, don't have the health bars.
Yeah, I mean, they got the TP from Kex. That's enough. That's what they were kind of aiming for. It's not too much of a concern for Riddle because Slow Q can just go to the side lane and apply that same pressure. BTXL doing well to set up and find those picks. They'll have to be a bit concerned. Losing the Rakan doesn't drastically change Riddle's fighting power.
Just a little bit of the engage, perhaps, but the damage is all there, considering the Wukong, the Diana, this Viego. Very strong. Even Ezreal now at the 2 items with that Muramana transformation complete as well. 3 items, though, are now complete for Deadly. That Infinity Edge is in the inventory of the AD carry. There's a Aphelios at 4-1-1 with a couple shutdowns picked up as well. Is very strong for a BTXL, as well as they find PlayStation. Dead. He's just, he's supposed to come straight out. PlayStation just dead.
I feel like we're watching a replay right now. I just saw that not 2 seconds ago. Just completely face checks, walks up, and I think this is kind of the thing with playing a champion like Rakan. You feel untouchable, you feel super safe because of all that mobility, but you are so squishy if caught out, and it's just giving more windows over the side of BTXL. Look at the replay, and yeah, just great help coming out from Advien. Kex nearly the one to take it, but it ends up being that Rakan. And now we see the stopwatch picked up for Deadly, and I feel like 3 items is the damage, the core damage items you need. But having that extra defensive option makes it a lot more comfortable in the fight, adds to that survivability. Probably going to see the J next as the next full item for Deadly, and that's when diving him becomes a lot more difficult, and he has the opportunity to turn around a lot more damage.
That he does. Goal is back to pretty much even. It's only a tower apart. It's only a dragon apart. We're 24 minutes into this game. Well, make that 25 as I speak about it, and got about a minute till this next dragon, Orcs. We've got this Baron live. It looked like it was going to be a BTXL wash, and now I feel like it could be anybody's game.
Yeah, it really comes down to the execution of team fights. What I want to see from Riddle is flank angles, make it so Deadly can't just sort of stand there and have his entire team causing disruption, creating space, having zone control. If you're able to quickly burst Deadly and find that flank angle, then you should be in a good spot to win the fight. But if you just tunnel into a choke point, he'll be comfortable. And you can see already, Kex is looking for that flank.
A bit of a savant there, Orcs. Kex going to get that blast cone over. The preemptive play from Advien to maybe force away Kex, but not going to be an issue for now. And teleport now instead from Arumi towards the bot lane to get in position for this dragon in 22 odd seconds to have his own flank angle, but it is Riddle that have control over the river right now.
Yeah, do you see the Infernum and the Severum for Deadly? So decent guns, but they're going in.
Paranoia has popped into the equalizer. That's the combo they're looking for. Hatrix has got the Sterix popped, and look who's so damn tanky. It's Slow Q who's doing a lot of work over the wall. Have gone Riddle though. Now looking to maybe re-engage. That's the Lantern, but it's left Arome a little bit out to drive. Of course, does have the safeguard, so less of a threat to him than anyone else. And the Dragon's just going to be started by Riddle.
There you can see with those ults down, BTXL don't feel comfortable pushing into the river again. Just have to back away, and they're trying to move towards the Baron area. If they don't find that favorable fight, they don't feel comfortable to commit there. Hatrix trying to find a kill, but again, it's hard to dive this Riddle composition. A lot of members with a lot of mobility. And really, the kind of hope for BTXL is that Riddle have to come into you and you're able to create space for Deadly. We'll get a replay. Obviously, dives in on the Ezreal and the Equalizer. Doing a fair amount of damage there, but everyone's healthy enough that all it really does is apply some poke damage. Everyone has mobility to get away, so no kills end up coming out. But a third dragon for Riddle. They're able to get their fourth, and I'm looking at the Wukong. I'm looking at the... Oh my god, that was a lot of damage. But yes. I'm looking at the Wukong and the Viego, and the sustain makes them so much harder to kill.
Yeah, Nimbus Strike is certainly doing a little bit of work right now for this Wukong. Pretty damn strong. Level 15, nearly at that level 60 mark when he gets the rank 3 ultimate as well. So that'll be doing even more damage at that point. And there's only one Thresh Lantern. And whoever's left to tank up that Cyclone could be having a horrible time with it, Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And it's just a disruption it causes to even the frontliners. If BTXL are trying to force into these dives, the ultimate, it just caused such an issue. But obviously, if Deadly is in a bad position, there is opportunities to find him. And I think the big difference is that when Riddle are diving, it's very easy for Gooby and PlayStation to follow up. But when BTXL are diving, it's very hard for Deadly and Advian to move forwards without sort of sacrificing their position and put themselves in an uncomfortable spot where they can't really opt out of again. So it does make that a little bit trickier when they want to go aggressive.
Okay, so Baron still live. Dragon, it's about 3 minutes still spawn on that one, and you can see that Riddle maybe feeling like it's their turn to start playing around this Baron. They've got Slowq just heading up towards that top lane to maybe start shoving up there. They've got teleports available. They've got the one advantage. In fact, there's only hat tricks available right now with his. Of course, Paranoia helps even that scale to an extent as well, even if it's on the same champion. And just a little bit of a lull state. Both these teams looking to see whether they can find an angle to maybe break this game finally one way or the other.
But hunting for the window, and realistically, there's no reason for XL to be forced to push outside of the base. 2 minutes 45 on that Dragon, and there's no real massive threat of the Baron being taken. But Kex is finding a window to apply pressure, but Rome is hunting.
The last time they tried this, no, that's so rude. Hits the S key, and of course with Wukong, you never know whether it's the clone or not anyway. Just keeping an eye as well. Like, it's also, you know, Viego got himself a lot of healing in his kit, and I'm seeing only Thornmail as far as Grievous Wounds items right here, which could be a bit problematic to try and shut him down. He's pretty close to level 16 as well at this point. And gonna get increasingly problematic to deal with in general.
Yeah, and I mean, the gold lead is only marginally in favor of Riddle, but they do have level advantages, which are a pretty big factor on top of that. 3 arms now completed for the Ezreal. Obviously, you know, historically, Ezreal, someone who did kind of fall off after that 2-item point, but more recently with his current build, he actually scales quite a lot better with all the ability haste you can build, so does feel pretty comfortable. And I feel like at this point, the game's kind of at a tipping point. 1 minute 50 on that last Dragon, which would be sold for Riddle. I think if they get that, their team fight just becomes so much stronger. We've seen all these bulky targets. Even the Ezreal is pretty bulky. The extra sustain makes them much harder to kill. And I feel like at that point, you're probably in a rough spot for BTXL. So they need to be able to take this fight. And the critical thing is vision setup, denying the flanks, keeping Deadly safe.
All right, vision setup, denying flanks, keeping Deadly safe. And vision setup has been a little bit difficult for both of these squads. You saw PlayStation trying to go and set up some wards himself and get picked off a few times in a row, as we were joking about not so long ago. Looking like we'll be resuming relatively shortly, looking at production as well, so that'll be good news. You don't have to look at my face for too much longer. Instead, we can get back into this game, but kind of feels like both these teams a bit wary of getting burnt, Orcs. You know, a couple plays have gone wrong for both squads. Early game for the side of Riddle, late mid-game, BDXL definitely overextended a few times, and just a little bit more cautious now from both squads.
Yeah, and I feel like BTXL are definitely a little bit concerned. They know at this point, you lose a fight, the game could just be gone. If you lose that Dragon fight convincingly, that is Soul to Riddle, that is Baron to Riddle, that is basically the game over, essentially, barring like sort of a miracle comeback. So a lot of pressure on this next one. You're seeing Deadly finishing that Lord Dominic, so he is putting out a lot of damage at this point. Will shred anyone if he's given the space, given the time. That's the critical thing. Can they keep Deadly alive? Can enough space be created by his team? Or will Riddle find a successful dive? And again, vision is so important for this, especially on an ocean map where there's more brushes you have to check, more places where you can be caught out. So you see BTXL find the priority mid, and they start moving over to really establish that control.
All right, then. Orcs has said it. I completely agree. All eyes on Deadly for both squads. He stays alive, BTXL probably win the fight. Riddle get on top of him, delete the Aphelios, and things get significantly trickier, and that's a pretty damn good start. Deadly chunked out to about 2/3 after the True Shot Barrage connect, but the Paranoia is going through into the Equalizer. Moonfall comes through, and that will be the Heartbreaker as well. They're going to try to turn around. MC stepping forwards with the stopwatch as well, now trying to get Flame Roast from Harpoon, doesn't get a lot done. He's going to be going golden in a bit of an awkward spot. Great! Deadly Flourish to try and hold Kex accountable. PlayStation goes in, but goes down as Deadly lives up to his name and gets that one. Now Riddle trying to hold on. Kubi is dead though as Aphelios gets that shut down. Into the backside though. Viego's picked up Aphelios. He's going to try and escape though. He tried to Heartbreak when he's not quite got enough, but MC is back. He's unstoppable, and suddenly Deadly is dead, and now Riddle just start running over the rest of the fight. Kex hunts down or tries to Arome and Advien, but they are the two remaining members. It will be Ocean Soul over to Riddle, and that one was a beautiful fight.
Yeah, you just see the steam go out of the sails of BTXL as soon as that Aphelios goes down. Oh!
No, Advien. As the Ocean Soul is secured, they're going to go in, but it's just...
I mean, the power of these champions, the Viego and the Wukong are doing so much work in these fights. And you saw Deadly step up to take that duel with Gooby, but he took so much damage in that 1v1, able to get taken down. And we'll get a replay. So a heavy engage coming out from BTXL, Deadly pushing forward to try and get the damage down. And when the re-engage comes in, you see some brilliant peel onto Kex there. Not able to find the Cyclone immediately, not able to get on top of Deadly as he starts dishing out that damage. And it kind of looks like it's BTXL favored at this point. But watch Deadly's health bar. He steps up too far forwards in this duel, gets so low, and then Slowq just kills him. And now they have the Fed Aphelios. But he doesn't stay in that form for long. But regardless, having lost that AD carry, there just isn't the damage to follow through for the side of Riddle. And now they have the Baron, they have the Ocean Soul off the back of that, and they are in a really comfortable spot.
Oh, Sovereign's domination is a hell of a passive ability. Viego gets a hold of that one. They're going to try and get something here at BDXL, but man, oh man, the Wukong turnaround is pretty scary. Still, the healing from Severum's onslaught secures the kill for Deadly. And instead, they will at least get one of the split pushes off. But what are Riddle doing on the rest of the map? They won't secure the mid lane inhibitor tower, but it looks like they'll probably get a hold of this top lane tier 2.
Yeah, I think they should be able to force them off. Riddle don't really want to opt into a 4v5, especially losing Kex right now. Why sort of take that risk when you're doing so well in these team fights? And really things coming heavily down at Deadly in this one. He has finished that GA, so that extra revive passive available, but if you go down, you know, your team just loses so much damage in these fights. They are so heavily reliant on this bot lane to function in these team fights. The rest of the members of BTXL are just supporting cast at this point. It's create space and peel for the Aphelios. And the thing is with Riddle is they have so many threats. You kill Kex, Slowq is still a threat. You kill Gooby, you still have MC. And as a result, it becomes so much more emphasis on Deadly to carry this game than it is on any individual member of Riddle.
Yeah, he is 5 items with boot. Fully stacked is Deadly at this point. Look at that compared to the rest of his team. 2 items on Marcoon, who's picked up an Oblivion Orb to at least be providing AoE Grievous Wounds for his AD carry. But you're right, it is just supporting cast at this point, and so much of the gold is going on to him. You can see the damage there as well. Like, Deadly's delivering best he can, but he's got so many threats, so many bounty hunters looking to take the head from his shoulders. It's such a difficult game to play out, but BDXL are gonna damn well try. The paranoia comes through, but good lord, Rumble is taken out in an instant. Diana deletes him. Revenge for the early game complete, but Deadly's gonna start trying to take his things into his own hands. The Chakrams are stacked, but Kex comes in, kicked out by Arome trying to play peel. Kex now has Hysteric Pop, but look at the bottom down Chakrams! You can't stand in the face of that. Deadly now resurrecting GA as Pop. That will mean that Slowq can't quite get a hold of it, but he is full HP. Level 17! And now it's Slowq who's time to see, well, what can I do with these items? He's not going to care too much. Heartbreakers forward alongside a harrowed path. Big grand entrance only gets the one, but it'll be another kill surely to Slowq. 1 remaining. You will get it. He will use the Spectral Maw to secure a kill onto Arome, and it turns out all the adverts Riot have been putting out were correct. The Ruination is here, this time of BTXL and Riddle, headlined by their mid laner here as Slowq on the Viego gets that fight.
And this should be enough to end here. They're so strong still. Hat-trick's likely to go down.
Woo! That's a lot of damage from an Ezreal. They get themselves the turret as well. Charm from the quickness. Hat-tricks is respawning to try and do something, but it's just not going to be enough. Riddle bring down BTXL and move to 7 and 4.
And what a performance from Riddle. They suffered so much in this early game, but they were able to come back strong. Some beautiful TP plays, some really strong execution in this team fights, and those solo laners absolutely on fire on the Wukong and Viego. They just seemed unstoppable, and Deadly did his best to try and carry that last team fight, but there was just too much pressure on him. It felt like a single carry composition, and he just wasn't able to do enough right there. I think a lot of mistakes, a lot of overaggression, and realistically, with an early game success like that, XL should not have dropped the ball there, but you can only really credit Riddle for finding those windows and forcing them to fall behind.
Well, you heard Orcs' disappointment there with how that played out after the early advantages, but it's not for us to break down. We've got a whole damn analyst desk to do that, so stick around and we're back after the break.